Time now for All Things Gators, All Things Orange and Blue. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie both wearing hoodies because that's kind of what we do.
Hoodie time.
Hoodie time. What's up, Hick? How are you?
Doing well, Frank. Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business for all your orthopedic needs. Visit se-ortho.com. A lot to take away. It's game week for our Florida Gators. Go figure that. I said this earlier, Frank. I think the biggest winner in bowl season, bar none, without a doubt, Gator Media. What a victory for them. They get Vegas over Birmingham, maybe Shreveport. With all due respect to those cities, they're fine. I've got Vegas. The Gators are out there starting Tuesday. If I'm any kind of Gator Media boy, I'm putting in for it. Let me go to Vegas. I want to be there for the duration.
Already there, as a matter of fact.
Right. I want to get the arrival
right.
video.
Right. Yeah, where was that? Where was that when we were covering the Gators? Yeah, we got Birmingham is what we got. Okay?
What a win! Yeah,
we did get New Orleans a few times though, as we said. It's a weird time in college football overall, Dan. I mean that's the storyline. It's a weird time in college football, but even beyond that, what a strange time for the Gators. They're going to play a quarterback who's never taken a snap for them.
Yeah.
They're going to play other guys that we've heard very little about. And that's not just a Florida thing. That's the way of college football in the bowls these days. But what an odd circumstance did we get set for this game on Saturday?
Well, there's no question about it. And I think, Jack Miller will be playing for a portal is what he'll be playing for. He'll want to have a good game. And I would expect it. I don't know. I don't know anything about the young man. I don't know if he's going to stay, if he's going to go, if he wants to compete, if they're going to give him a chance to compete. Is he good enough to compete? Clearly, Florida's going to bring in somebody in the portal. We've already heard that, the kid from Wisconsin, Graham Mertz, has visited. I've heard about the kid from Oklahoma State who's not a kid. So, no telling what's going to happen. Who's there? They have Rashada coming in. DJ Lagway is a 24 guy, so we got 2 years of waiting for him to sign. It's just a weird, crazy.
Yeah.
God bless those coaches. I know you guys make a lot of money, and you know what? Good for you. But man, oh man, got to recruit your players, re-recruit your players, recruit the portal. It never ends.
Yeah,
it never ends.
No, it really, and the world's different than it's ever been. And part of it is players get paid, and they deserve to get paid because they haven't over the years. So that's a good thing. I'll say this, Dan. First of all, for Florida, next year's quarterback, you got to believe is not on the campus now.
You would think,
yeah. Now, I'll be interested to see what happens when Jack Miller III plays in this game. Mm-hmm. What if he throws for 300 yards and looks good? That doesn't mean he's great, but it means he's in the battle. You hear a lot of names. Sam Hartman's name was all over the Gator, whether there's any truth to that or not. It was everywhere. I hear the Michael Pratt, the kid from Tulane. I think you hear that name all the time now. And of course, he doesn't play till the end of the year. Is he a guy that the Gators are on or wants to come? You heard the Oklahoma State guy. I heard the Utah guy, Cam Rising. Whether it's totally bogus or totally true, you've heard all these names associated with Florida, which tells me this: if you're portal guy and you're considering going somewhere, where better to go? Think about this for a second. Number one, it's a high-profile blue blood school. Nobody debates that. They've won 3 national championships in the last 25 years. Okay, when you've got 3 natties in the last 25 years, you're a high-profile school. Everybody knows what the Swamp is. If you say the Swamp to a college football fan, they know what you're talking about. They're always on TV. They're in the best league in America. They have a recognizable logo. They have a coach who looks like he's recruiting a bunch of good players. And they have no quarterback.
Yeah, you're going to play.
You're right. So you're going to play. So if you're Michael Pratt from Tulane, if that's who you are, and you're from South Florida originally, so you probably grew up at least knowing about the Gators, and all of a sudden you're this really good player that wants to play one more year of college football, or Sam Hartman, whoever you are, Florida's very attractive. So that doesn't mean they're getting them all, but it's a very, very, very attractive landing spot for the next quarterback. I think you're going to hear a lot of names, but there's no doubt that the next guy, I shouldn't say no doubt, because Jack Miller deserves a chance at this, but and just Jaden Rashada could start as a freshman. But it's likely that the next guy is not on campus right now.
Yeah, I think that's true. And then again, and I don't know what Florida's going to get out of the bowl game, except some opportunities for some young guys to get to play. We all said the weeding out process was going to happen. I think Florida's second in the country in guys leaving the program behind maybe Texas A&M. I'm not sure, but I did see that stat yesterday, and I thought that was interesting. But again, fully expected. Billy Napier is going to get Billy Napier guys, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know, how much does this week take away from recruiting? Obviously, Florida's done a terrific job. They've got a great quarterback room coming up here, I think. And again, though, it's how it is. If I'm not starting, I'm departing. So I don't know how exactly it's going to work here for the Gators or any college program. But I do know this: they are getting a lot of good players. I looked up recruiting the other day, Frank, and I'll just tell you this real quick.
Right.
Billy has 15 of the ESPN 300s. I just happen to be looking at ESPN. I usually do 24/7, but in this particular case, I was looking at ESPN. He has 15. Right. Mullins last 2 years, he had 13 and 11 out of the ESPN 300. But if you go look at those 24 kids, man, not impact players whatsoever. Maybe one or two here along the way, but not much at all from those two groups of players. And so you still got to hit on these guys. And I think that's why there's a lot of optimism with Florida going forward here. I know they think they have a good chance with Old Pancakes, the 5-star offensive lineman who came in and visited this weekend. So, and he moved up his date to announce to the 15th. So we'll see.
There are a handful of schools that look like they're getting the good players every year. And Florida hasn't been in that group since the Urban Meyer years. And the bottom line is it hasn't been Urban Meyer. Ron Zook did it to tee up Urban Meyer the first time. Urban Meyer started doing it after that. But Florida hasn't been in that group of schools that looks like they're getting the good players. Now it looks like they are. So I don't worry about that. And by the way, Jaden Rashad is coming now. DJ Lagway is coming next year. You're worried about a crowded room. Well, let me assure you of this. The teams that keep getting those 5-star quarterbacks, they don't all play, but those teams win a bunch of titles. You get Jalen Hurts, and you get Tua, and you get Mac Jones. You can have a crowded room, but you know what? That room sorts itself out. Jalen Hurts may take off to Oklahoma. Mac Jones may have to wait his turn. But the result is you keep winning, all right?
Right.
So I'll take my chances with a bunch of those guys, even if they got to kind of sort through it and maybe they don't all finish their career at Florida. You keep getting those. Look at Georgia. How many 5-star recruits are on Georgia's roster? And a guy that was at a 3-star is about to win him a second national title, perhaps, Yeah. So let's keep getting them. But I have, there's two conversations today. There's one, the state of the program now, the portal, a lot of guys leaving, a lot of guys coming. What will the bowl game look like? And the second conversation is, what's the future of Florida football? Well, the second conversation is pretty good. I don't know anybody that doesn't think that. Now, it may not play. It's got to play out. Yeah. But I don't know anybody that doesn't think in terms of direction of whether you're rooting for the Gators or you don't like them. If you're rooting for them, you're excited about it. If you don't like them, you're concerned about it. But the reality is I don't know anybody that doesn't think that direction's really good.
Will you feel the same way if we're doing this podcast this time next year?
Yeah,
and Florida's coming off a 6-6 season.
I won't. I'll be disappointed. I think he's been there long enough now.
Right.
That they now need to. They don't have to win 11, Dan.
Right.
But step 2 needs to be an 8 or 9 win season.
I would agree with that.
And I'd be disappointed if it's not. But I think it will be. Again, I think the quarterback's going to be Sam Hartman or Michael Pratt or Cam Rising or whoever. I think the quarterback's going to be a different guy. I don't think it's going to be Drake May because I think Carolina's going to find a way to keep him.
Right.
But I think it's going to be one of these other guys that people haven't seen play much. And so I think quarterback's going to get solved. The other thing is back to what you said. When you see all these guys transferring out, the guys, that tells me that Billy Napier said, okay, enough's enough.
Right.
My guess is he's brought them all in and he said, look, I don't think he's pulling scholarships, even though scholarships are 1-year deals.
Right.
I don't think Billy's pulling scholarships. What I do think he's doing is he's bringing guys in and said, listen, we've had a year to evaluate you now. We know what we've got coming in. I'm not certain you're going to have the playing time you want here.
Right.
We're not chasing you off, but if I've got to be honest with you here, it doesn't look like you're going to be in our mix. And that's no disrespect to you. I'm not the one that recruited you, but we wanted to come here and give you a chance.
Right.
And we wanted.
I think that's 100% accurate. I think that's how you handle it as a coach.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's done. So I think, and they're leaving in mass and they're coming in mass. And it's going to be, I will say this, it's turning over more rapidly now than I thought it would. Some people thought it would do that last year. I mean, they're all leaving. They're all leaving and they're all coming. So it's going to be a different looking team next year. So we'll see. But let's get to the bowl game for a second.
Okay.
What are your expectations for, Trevor Etienne's playing and Montrell Johnson's playing, and I think Ricky Pearsall's playing, and I think Jaquavian Frazier's is playing, and I think Xavier Henderson's playing. So, I mean, they got some guys, they got a bunch of guys around this guy, Jack Miller. What are your expectations offensively in this game?
Offensively, I hope they can move the ball. I don't have big expectations at all about this game. This is a good Oregon State team that I think is excited more. Is Florida excited about playing Oregon State? I mean, you got, the motion of the kids. I mean, it's Vegas, which is great, but yeah. I'm not expected too much, man. I said, knowing that AR was going to leave, which we all were pretty certain of, and the line came out and it was 7.5 points. I was like, man, oh man, I would load up right now in Oregon State and 7, and it went up to 10.5. So, right. I don't know. But it's another opportunity for, I'm not so much excited about the bowl game as I'm excited about, and this is a little weird, but I'm excited about seeing the guys that I don't know make plays.
Correct.
That's what I want to see.
And let me go back to, so I disagree with one thing you said. You said, I don't know if Florida's excited about playing this game. Well, yeah. I think Dan Mullen's next to last team that almost beat Alabama,
right,
and then lost, and then went to play Oklahoma, and half of them didn't play.
Right.
That team wasn't very excited.
Well, I don't have that feel either, but continue.
Yeah, but that team had been to the mountaintop and couldn't quite get there, and then they were disappointed.
They cashed it in, yeah.
They didn't really care.
Yeah.
I think this team's got a lot of young guys. It is Vegas. Yeah. It's a gorgeous stadium.
Yeah.
It's some guys that are going to play more than they've played all year long.
Yeah.
I think they are excited. I think they're going to get rolled because I think Oklahoma State's way better.
Oregon State,
Oklahoma State that'll run out there is way better than the Florida. And look, you got a quarterback's never taken a snap.
Right.
So obviously you're not going to be very good on offense if your quarterback's never taken a snap.
Right.
So, but I do think they'll be eager to play. It's just a tough matchup for them. But I'm like you. Let me see some young guys I haven't seen. Is there something there that I don't know about? And look, I want to watch Jack Miller III, even if he's terrible. We've heard about him since the day he left Ohio State.
Yeah.
Right. And he's never played it down. And so obviously because of what happened, obviously AR came out. Obviously everyone knows the Kitna story now. There's no choice but to play Jack Miller III and hope he doesn't get hurt. Right.
Right.
I guess the walk-on Engel comes in if he gets hurt. Listen, it's a Gator football game. There's only 13 of them.
Oh yeah.
I think Gator
I'll be watching.
I think Gator fans can't wait to watch it because that's what it is. I really do think that. So
I was talking to Chris Dorian the other day. He said he's going. He wants to go watch his alma mater play, and it's Vegas. Yeah, I said, it's a good move on your part.
No, I know Chris Dorian. He's one of my dear friends. He's a wonderful guy. Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if it was in Memphis, he wouldn't be going. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm going to say if it's in Birmingham, he wouldn't be going.
Right.
Okay. But it is in Vegas. So go have a good time. Vegas. I mean, Vegas is Vegas, for God's sake.
Vegas is Vegas, baby.
So go have fun.
Before we get out of here, your early thoughts here about your basketball team that I think is going to, the SEC's got some top heavy boys in that conference, and Florida's going to have their hands full. I have a feeling here in year one of the golden era. Yeah. I want to get to basketball. Then I want you to wrap up with the recruiting weekend and kind of where you see recruiting a week or two out before signing day. But let me get to basketball since you brought it up. It's going to be a tough year. In fairness to Todd Golden, he just got there. And he's got to build it with his guys. And I don't think it's fair to him to be down on what he's done or what they've done early on, because that's just not fair. In today's portal era, he's got very few of his own guys other than veteran guys he brought in. So give him a chance. I think he deserves a chance. Having said that, Mike White lost one game by 20 plus points in 7 years. Yeah. Todd's
already lost 2. And they were not. I mean, look, UConn's really good. UConn may win the national championship. In fairness. That's a really good team. But UConn and West Virginia rolled them, Dan. And I think the SEC teams are just like, I think that group of Tennessee and Alabama and obviously Kentucky and Auburn, Arkansas, they're just like those two teams. They're big, physical, fast, athletic, deep. I think it's a tough year. Florida has not been. When is the last time they've been sub 500 in the league? Now, Mike White had some 9-9s, but I don't remember an 8-10 or a 7-11. Do you? For either Billy the last year?
Yeah.
Billy was under 500 his last year.
Yeah.
I want to say, and I may be wrong about this, that's the only time they've been sub 500 in the league in about 25, 30 years. You know that? So it's been a long time
We got our hands full this year, buddy.
I think it's a tough year. What do you, I mean, I think it's a tough year and I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's a tough year for the Gators. What do you think?
I 100% agree. And again, part of it is because, Alabama's knocking off number one teams every time I look up. Tennessee's a really good basketball program. I haven't even mentioned Kentucky yet, Arkansas. Right. I mean, there's 4 that are really good, and that's, you got to look at what Oates has done at Alabama and, you got to replicate that if you're Todd Golden. It's a challenge. And I think Florida basketball will take a step back with Todd Golden with hopes of taking 2 steps forward ahead of Mike White. That remains to be seen. But obviously that's what everybody, said they wanted. And so we'll see again what happens. And I don't know what expectations are. And the program is it's a really debatable topic. We've done it a lot here over the last year. So, yeah,
Florida basketball, Dan, it was a program that had never done anything until Billy got there. That's reality. Couple trips to the tournament. Lon had the one Final Four year. They had one other Sweet 16, but that was about it. Okay,
correct.
And Billy gets there, and they're great. All of a sudden, Billy leaves. They've been to 5 Final Fours and 9 Elite Eights and won 2 titles and been to a title game, and all of a sudden they look like an elite program.
Yeah.
So Mike White comes in, and they're not as good. But Mike White's teams usually made the tournament.
Yeah.
And
win 20.
Win 20, make the tournament, middle of the pack of the SEC.
Yeah.
The Gator fan who only knew the Billy era.
One good enough.
Had this stuff.
Yeah, we've done this.
More,
yeah.
So hopefully they can get more. We all want the same thing here, and hopefully that'll happen.
Yep.
Before we leave,
yes, sir.
You're the recruiting guy.
I am.
All the buzz I hear. We talked about big picture. Let's get back into the weeds just a little bit. Are they on the cusp of adding a bunch of guys? Is that this better than I do? Though you talk about Pancake, the offensive lineman guy.
Pancake, Samson Okunlola from he's. They feel good about him from what I understand. There's some other ones they're trying to flip the kid who went to UCF, defensive tackle. There's a running back that they're trying to get.
Mark Fletcher, I think, is the
Fletcher,
running back.
Right?
Yeah.
That's another kid. There's a Stanford tight end commit who's come in, who they like. They might be able to squeeze into that top 5.
That's what I'm wondering if
up in there
amidst the basketball team is going to struggle.
That would be the good news.
Amidst the fact that the bowl game's not going to be pretty to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You got a quarterback that's never played.
Yes.
Is it quietly a big, like the gigantic recruiting haul? We're only a week away now.
Oh, we're coming. We're coming.
Is a gigantic haul coming even bigger than people think? I guess that's my question.
It's so hard. You know what? In this day and age, it's so hard. You can feel good. And I think they do feel good.
Right.
But just like with Cormani McLean, last second, boop, there's the money. Bye.
Yeah,
happens.
Exactly. I guess in this day and age, you never really know.
It's hard to predict.
All right, Vegas.
Crystal balls look good, baby, but who knows?
I need a Vegas Bowl score for you as we wrap.
I'll go Oregon State 33, Florida 20.
Yeah, 31-17, 31-14 is the game I fear as well. That's All Things Gators, all things orange and blue. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie.
Thank you, Frank. And thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business of Jacksonville, FLA. Visit se-ortho.com. Frank, have a good week. We'll recap it next week.
You too, Hick. Take care.
All right.